Hey, how you doing, everybody? This is Michael Jullian at Launch Expose, online business solutions and services, as well as coaching and consulting for online business entrepreneurs. Welcome to Launch Expose. It is June 8th, and I'm doing a second episode here on my podcast at LE to provide you content out there if you are driven and motivated to create your own online business in 2023 and to scale that business to six figures and beyond. Welcome to LE, and in today's podcast, I'm going to be talking about successful online business and the fact that it requires patience, as I believe in the old euphemism, steady wins the race. And that is going to be today's podcast in terms of motivation for entrepreneurs. But before I get to it, I'd like to introduce today's podcast sponsor. Today's podcast sponsor is Canva. You can design dynamic advertising in Canva. Canva is an incredible platform that's super simple to use, and I've ended up using it for pretty much everything I'm doing in terms of the AdCom and MarCom that I use on my business website and in my email marketing campaigns and in my branding and for my branding for my podcast here and my videos on YouTube. So I could not recommend it more. Canva gives you the ability to create dynamic advertising and to be able to utilize it and post it easily on social media, and provides the ability for you to turn prospects into customers with dynamic advertising. If you're interested in checking out Canva, I highly recommend that you check it out and start using it as a first-time online business entrepreneur. And if you are somebody who has an online business and you are experienced and you've been using other platforms to do your marketing in the past, I still highly recommend that you check out Canva, just based on the fact that it has become so easy to use in terms of speed and performance to put out beautiful finishing content if you know how. And if for any reason anybody needs any services in regard to Canva, I definitely provide those services here at Launch Expose in terms of graphic design. So if you're interested, you can check out the link below in the description of this podcast here on my channel on YouTube. Just click on the link and you can get started with Canva today. All right, so let's get to tonight's podcast, Motivation for Entrepreneurs, in terms of successful online business requiring patience. Now, I'm a firm believer in the old euphemism, steady wins the race. And I just put out a video on my channel where I talk about this in terms of how to stay highly focused and in flow. That was really the basis of the video, the subject content of the video. But I wanted to include it here on this podcast as well, because they go hand in hand. And steady wins the race was part of that video. So I just want to put out the message to you. If you're a first-time person who is thinking about, hey, I really need to buckle down. I've wanted to create an online business to create steady passive revenue stream, then this podcast is for you. And I really want to guide you in this moment that you're listening to this podcast to understand in this first stage, with you being visionary about creating your own online business, the importance of just being patient during the process. It's everything, because it's so easy to get inundated when you're first trying to get out of the gate as someone who has a vision about creating an online business. And of course, it's all too easy to think about the money, right? Obviously, what we want is we want to convert, and we want to be able to see our bank account fill with cash, with money, right? And of course, if we're operating in a money mindset first, this makes it incredibly difficult to keep your attention span when you're looking for viable ways to create a business online, to create stable passive income streams. And I went through that way back when, and I deal with some of my coaching clients with this, and we have to break that habit, in that it's all too easy in the very beginning. If you're thinking in terms of the finished result about you receiving cash and money, as opposed to being really passionate about what you want to do online to be a business entrepreneur and own your own business. That's a whole different deal. So if we're chasing, side hustles and side gigs, that's not the focus for this particular podcast. Really what I'm drilling down on here tonight is the idea that you should create a real business. I mean, side hustles are great and they're passive income streams, but it's all too easy to get on YouTube, start looking at an idea, and of course we become absorbed with the idea that so many people out there at such a high proficiency level with the production of their videos and how they look, how they feel, how they sound, and of course the hustlers out there in terms of side hustle opportunities. I'm not saying that in a derogatory way at all. That's really their niche, is to teach you side hustles. And of course, these guys and gals come at you at 100 miles an hour plus in terms of the speed in which they're talking, how many ideas they're throwing at you at once, how easy it is to do, and then these big promises about how this is going to give you some kind of return economically from a revenue standpoint into your bank account. And of course, if it doesn't feel right or it's not somehow, it's just not clicking, it's all too easy to click off of that video and immediately search another video on YouTube and start the whole process again. And of course, before you know it, you don't realize, but you've watched 30, 40, 50 videos in a sitting to waste a ton of time. And it can exhaust you mentally, and it really, is detrimental in terms of focus. So I can't preach enough, and I do this in my training at LE and with my coaching clients, is the most important thing that you can do, the best thing that you can do, is to focus on a niche. Before you do anything in setting forth with an online business, drill down at 100% and commit to what it is you really want to do to put the time and effort into building an online business. What are you truly passionate about in terms of marketing and selling products and services online? That's first and foremost, because once you get that out of the way, it's very, very easy to gain speed in data collection, right? You know what you want to do. You've researched the niche. You know that there's a need globally out there. And of course, you're passionate because you personally are behind this idea. This is something that you will do and want to do passionately, 5, 6, 7 days a week in the beginning to make it successful, and intend to do it for a prolonged period of time. So that's where it's at. And if you set that as the foundation, you're good to go as a first-time online entrepreneur. You have something that you truly believe in. At that point, it's very, very imperative that you just keep this in your state of conscious. To be highly focused and in flow, and to have a positive mindset about what you're setting forth and doing with your online business. But that you've got to remain patient. Steady wins the race. So once we've determined a niche, now what's the process? All right, well, I've got to really build a brand around this niche. And of course, you set forth on branding. Research names out there, find out if they're available, see if there's any real competition. Start to think about graphic design and how to go about designing a brand. How do you do that? And how can you repurpose the content that you create? Whether you have plans to hire, freelancers on Upwork and platforms like that, I mean, you can definitely go that route. But if you do, it's going to get harder because you're one-offing per job, per gig, per chore that you need them to complete, because you're not committing hands-on to doing it yourself, which is why I highly, highly recommend that you check out my services here at Launch Expose. If you are in that position and you definitely know that you're only going to perform 3, 4, 5 functions in this thing, and you're looking at certain things like, hey, you know what? I'm going to hire somebody to do my graphic design all the time. I don't have time to do that. I'm not going to do that. In terms of branding, I need help with that. I really don't know. I've researched my niche. I'm determined. I'm passionate about the specific market that I'm going to go after. But I definitely have decided that I'm going to need help here. I highly recommend that you check out some of my services at Launch Expose, because I do sell a 360-degree platform package approach to building everything top to bottom, bottom to top, and back and forth. I mean, that's the whole point in the beginning, is to build it from ground up. We conceive an idea, we come up with a brand, we design, and then we do a test and a pre-launch. And once we realize, it hits, hey, that's it. Love the way that looks. The message back, we're already starting to see potential prospects' interest. I'm already starting to collect people into a list because of what we did in our pre-launch and our test. We're good to go. So to get to that stage, it requires a lot of patience. And it's just so easy to get inundated into an abyss of information about all of the things that you could do online to be successful in terms of making revenue. So steady wins the race. Once we're in one particular idea, be very patient, learn as much as you possibly can. And if for any reason you need information or resources, reach out to me here at Launch Expose. And I wanted to definitely promote in this podcast, as I do in all of my videos, and pretty much going to be doing in every podcast episode moving forward, I do offer a 1-hour free Zoom consult session with you if you visit launchexpose.com, and you can sign my list. The actual link is in the description of this podcast episode here on YouTube. You can click on that link, and it's going to bring you to a page that has a form at the bottom of it. And you can pre-qualify your session, let me know as much about you and your vision about creating an online business, and or details about your existing online business if you're looking to enhance the website, improve it, or improve processes, or going through changes right now with your online business. So I highly recommend that you check it out. It's a $150 value. I'm giving it away completely free, and it really gives me a lot of joy and gratitude to help folks really truly understand what it is that they want to do and organize and make a plan during that call, to learn as much about you as possible in terms of what you're trying to accomplish as an online business entrepreneur. And then the second part of the consult is to show you everything that I offer at Launch Expose. And of course, there's a gigantic a la carte list of things that we could do. And there are many, many different ways to work with me and go about it. So you can definitely figure that out during and after the session. So I highly encourage you to hit the link and check that out. But I do have a system built where we can help you in the very beginning stages. And really what I'm promoting constantly is be patient with every part of the process. If we're going to build a website, we did it really, really well. We did it expeditiously, but we were very organized and had an excellent business plan and web dev plan moving forward. If, once that's accomplished and we're doing some kind of a test on the site itself, potentially a test launch, a pre-launch test in terms of seeing if your brand can gain some exposure. And of course, we're going to be heading right into social media and making organic posts in the beginning. And I can teach you all about that. I'm actually in the process of developing a whole course that you're going to be able to download and buy on how to create organic traffic on social media, Facebook, Instagram, etc. So, but it's a given, right? We're going to have to go out there. We're going to have to expose what we are going to market and or sell by way of product or service, right? So inside of there, obviously, we're going to have a lot of patience. There's going to be a lot of replication. We're going to have to learn how to do posts properly, how to join groups that have the potential for you to gain new prospects in bulk without paying for Facebook ads, which is one of the reasons I highly promote that training in particular, and that's why I'm going to turn it into a product. Facebook can be very effective, but it can also be very costly over time to a first-time entrepreneur. And I really believe creating organic traffic is the way to go in the beginning without heavy financial commitment, because at least you're determining who your target audience is. So through that process, really, what is the mantra? Well, keep a positive mindset, be consistent, and steady wins the race. We set aside 2 to 4 hours of time to do organic posts. And we may have done that with something like dynamic advertising that was created in something like today's podcast sponsor, Canva. And that is also something I can set up for you in the event that you're interested and you you are interested in scheduling an online business consult session with me on Zoom. We can talk about that, and it's kind of fun. It's very fast. I can show you exactly how Canva could be a resource for you and how you could get started immediately learning how to design some dynamic advertising. And it's a great way to test. It's a great way to test a pre-market. It's a great way to find out if you have a target audience who's attentive in that niche. So patience is everything in building an online business, because at each stage of growth, you're going to go through a whole nother series of tasks. There are going to be other things that you're going to have to learn to grow your platform to eventually turn the whole circle complete into that 360-degree approach that I constantly promote here at Launch Expose, which is that you have determined who you are in the market. You have a strong brand. You have a specific niche. You have a target audience that you are effectively starting to gain the attention of through multimedia marketing correctly. You have all of those components in flow. You have a powerful website built, and we have designed it in such a way that it is a lead building system, that it's got a really robust CRM behind it and connected to it, that we're using things like pop-ups connected to forms. We're embedding highly dynamic forms and capturing information on the website, all to lead into your initial list as a first-time entrepreneur online with your own business. And as soon as we start building that list with CRM connected, patience is always going to be a focus. We're going to need to learn how to optimize that CRM. We're going to have to learn how to use all of its functionality at 100%. And some of these things in the beginning may seem really daunting and, oh my gosh, it's going to be so much time. This is going to be hard. When the reality is it's incredibly easy to do. So the whole purpose of the podcast in this particular episode is just to focus on that in general in every task from the moment that you set forth to create an online business. Have that mindset. Now, of course, I promote having a driven mindset and actually committing to your idea and, really being fired up and wanting to work as hard as you can to make this thing successful, but working smarter, not harder, which is what I promote all the time, both in my videos and with my coaching clients and on the podcast. And just trying to make sure that you're focused on being patient. Day one, like, I got to sit down and write a really organized business plan. That's very, very easy to do. There are many, many ways to go about it. There are resources online. There are templates you can find for free. You could use OpenAI and ChatGPT to do it potentially. In the event you needed help with creating a successful business plan, of course, I offer those services. This is why you would potentially buy a package from me as a coaching client. But either way, no matter how you went about it, the bottom line is we've got to be patient during that process. Got to really drill down on what it is exactly that you want to do. How are we going to structure this business? What is the budget going to be? What is the niche? What tools are we going to need in terms of setting up that 360-degree approach to building a really stellar, globally visible website that converts prospects into customers? So from your business plan all the way into any type of a future that you can see if you manifest it now in terms of a successful online business. Think about it. Put yourself in the mindset that you've already done all of this from day one. You're just patient in every single process. At every step of the way, you have a patience mindset about doing it very well and fine-tooth combing it at least 4 or 5 times. There were times in my business where I'll look at things 200 plus times in an afternoon to make sure that I have it straight. And of course, I make mistakes as well. I mean, you're going to encounter this in terms of being an online business entrepreneur. Nothing is perfection, and practice makes perfect. There is no doubt about that. But the more patient that you are, the point I'm making here is processes will come together quicker. You're going to find solutions to things you need to achieve quicker. It's going to be easier to do, and it's going to give you peace of mind because you were very patient about each stage, every step of the way. And of course, this goes into building a website. It goes into building AdCom or MarCom for your products and services. It goes into building a YouTube channel, which you're probably going to need for your business, and I highly recommend that you build one, whether you think you need one or not, depending on your niche or market. It's a way to sell your products and services outside of your website, and that's why it's so imperative to consider getting on YouTube and becoming a content creator. It's one of the main jobs that's recommended out there right now in terms of the top 5 to 35 ways to make money online in 2023 and beyond, from Entrepreneur Magazine to Forbes and on and on and on. So it's in everything that you're going to do. And when you start to interface with prospects, it's going to help you turn them over into paying clients faster, because that whole patience approach, the fluidity in which you roll, when you get things done, when you're interfacing with a prospect, they're going to feel that right away, and they're going to feel it in the content. If the content is really well prepared, it's very, very high quality, no matter what you're doing. It makes sense. You kept it simple, and it hits the mark. It grabs their attention immediately in seconds of time, and it piques their interest. That's the way to go about it. And the way that you achieve that is to be patient. Steady wins the race. So there you have it. That is tonight's podcast from Costa Rica. I'm in Costa Rica temporarily right now. We'll be heading back to the United States here in a couple of weeks to locate in Salt Lake City, Utah. So I'll be bringing you content from there as well very, very soon. So I hope that you gained some clarity and understanding of the importance of being patient when you're building an online business, and that mantra is in your mindset. Steady wins the race. And I'll just give one more plug before I wrap up here to tonight's podcast sponsor, Canva. Canva is an incredible way to do dynamic advertising. And if you're interested in checking out Canva for free, you can definitely do that by clicking the link below in the description of this podcast here on my channel. Click the link and you'll go right to Canva. And I really highly suggest that you purchase a pro account with Canva. It's under $13 a month, and it is an immeasurable way to create dynamic content, advertising, and everything you'll need for your website and every single post you make on social media. And you can do it in a very dynamic fashion with ease. So check it out. I hope you enjoyed tonight's podcast. Thank you for tuning in. And if you have any comments, I welcome those. If you have any questions for me, please enter them in the description below. And if you are interested in any of my services, all of the links are listed below in the description of this podcast. And you can click on those pages. You'll be taken directly to my website. And in every single service page that I offer, there is a dynamic form at the bottom of each page where you can fill in your information, sign my list, and let me know exactly what you are in need of in terms of your project requirements and or interests in being driven to create your own online business in 2023 and scaling that business to 6 figures and beyond. Until next time, this is Michael Jullian. For all of you and anybody that listened to the podcast, thanks for tuning in. And please give me a like and subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. It really helps me grow, and it helps me put out more content that will serve you in a beneficial, positive way and give you motivation as an online entrepreneur in 2023. Stay safe out there, and until next time.